Welcome to the Grit and Grace podcast, where real conversations meet real growth. This is the place where we lean into life's challenges with grit and rise above them with grace. Whether you're here for encouragement, practical tools, or a reminder that you're not walking this journey alone, you're in the right place. So let's dive in. I'm Bethany Starks.
I'm Christy Dunton.
And this is our first podcast for January 2026. So happy New Year. We're just a few days into the new year and we are excited about this podcast. Mm-hmm. So the disclaimer today, I'm in healthcare, but the disclaimer today is even the giants fall, even the champions can succumb to either cedar fever or viral illness.
We're going to cedar fever.
Yeah, Christy has been fighting a little bit of what she thinks is cedar fever. It could be, it's January, or it could be the viral illness that the whole world has. But regardless, like any good friend would do, like we're both control freaks, so we're not very good at like when we can't fix something, right?
Yes.
So yesterday I might have met Christy in the dark parking lot before I run and given her 3 injections.
Yep.
And then followed by ran into her office when she had 45 minutes at work with an IV and an IV pole, even though she said no.
we have tried all the things.
Yeah. So,
but I feel better. And just also, I've continued my workouts. I've ran every day.
Yeah.
That is one of my goals for 2026. But I don't sound great, guys.
Yeah. So anyway, just pardon the voice. It'll be a good memory.
It'll be
a good memory when we listen back. Even the giants fall. Not often, but occasionally. So, this is the perfect time. And it's the topic of this podcast, but it's the perfect time to talk about goals. Yeah. And we had our first morning, Saturday morning long run and coffee this morning. So we kind of like wrapped up goals. We've been talking about goals for a few weeks.
We have been.
Because our last trip that we went on to Vegas, we set goals and talked about goals and kind of recapped things. But we are committed to holding each other accountable on goals, and we have monthly goals and goals for the year.
Yeah.
So do you want to share like 2 of your goals for the year? Don't steal mine though.
Okay.
No pressure.
Okay,
you can.
Goals. I'm going to go probably something you're not going to think about. One that I told you this morning. I'm truly convicted because all of my family lives in Indiana. And one of my goals this year is to call my mom at least once a month. So it may sound, like, why do you only talk to your mom once a month? But it is. We are just very 2 independent women, and we're living our life, and we can get busy, and I don't want to forget about her.
Yeah,
so that is one of my goals is to call my mom once a month. And one of my other goals is I am going to run a mile every day in 2026.
That's right.
There it is.
Yeah.
I said it out loud. I started with a month, but when you're challenged, you sometimes accept.
She might have been challenged by me.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's right. So
But I did the same thing last year. Well, no, last year my January goal was to run a mile every day in January. And I shared with Bethany, part of the reason was because I'm always battling the weather in my mind. It is a barrier.
She makes it a really big thing in her mind.
It is a barrier of
tough.
mine. And so if I set a goal that I have to do something every day, it just creates, there's no excuse. I can't create an excuse for it.
But you do love to do hard things.
I do.
So it's fine.
It's fine.
And I think whenever you said January and I was like, why not all year? I was like, we're already nearly doing that anyway, because we run 4 days a week already. And so I was going to do the 1 mile a day, and then I changed it to 2 this morning. And then Christy's like, you just have to one-up me.
One-up.
Anyway,
but
so.
You're a marathoner? I'm a half marathoner.
Yeah. So to me, I'm like, oh, that's the one goal I can keep this year. So, so that's one of mine too. And then another, I guess, more personal one, and I think we both share this, is we just want to be more intentional with time. And we talked about that this morning, that time just goes by so fast with our kids and the people we love.
Yes.
And we want to just breathe deep and be intentional. And that's a good goal for everybody, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're busy people, and everyone is busy, and lives get busy, and it's almost like when you always have a phone, and if we go out to eat and I see people having a date, and I see them each other on their phone and things like that, they're not looking up. They're letting life pass them by. And when you're not being intentional with the time that you have with somebody, you're going to look back and they're going to be grown. And 10 years are going to pass by, and that time is gone.
But we really encourage you to set goals, and I hope you already have. It's January 3rd. So, like, time's ticking, guys. But to set goals, and then to have somebody in your life that helps hold you accountable to those goals. So the topic for today is the power of pushing start. So we felt that was so appropriate for the first podcast of 2026. And so the power of pushing start, and why starting imperfectly changes everything. So many times we wait for the perfect time to start. It's like when, we've all heard this, like, you can't wait for the perfect time to have kids, or the perfect time to get married. Like, there's never going to be a perfect time. You're never going to have enough money. Everything's not ever going to be completely aligned. And then we want to encourage you and kind of bring you in a little bit to our goals, that it's so common that people kind of develop a word for the year. And so we did that on our last trip, and talked about it a little bit in our final podcast of 2025. But our 2 words that we came up with, because we didn't just do one, I think our first one was build, but then we kind of carried on from 2025 the word obey. And so our goal is to build boldly in all areas of our life, personally, professionally, fitness, spiritually, all those areas, and then to obey fully. And so that's our challenge for the year in so many areas.
And I like those words, because we are both action people. And you have to take action in order to build, and you have to take action in order to obey. And so you can't be stagnant. You can't just sit by and let things happen and wait for things to happen. You have to take action on what is going on in your life and be in control.
That gives you that control. And, you know, as you like and share this podcast or other podcasts, we encourage you to just jot us a little note in the comments that says what your word for the year is. We would like to know.
It's always interesting, because I know I've seen, like, people wear bracelets, and when people do that, I applaud that, because they're being intentional of what they're doing with their year. And if they can continue to, and I try and be intentional, I've done it before, and here's a good idea, is if you have a friend that, so like if Bethany tells me that her word of the year is build, I will actually go into her contact on my phone, and I will actually put next to her name 2026 word, and put that word on there, so that when I am texting that person or I am receiving a phone call from that person, it'll remind me to possibly check on them, to hold them accountable. So
to check on them, to pray for them, that they're being accountable to that goal. So we encourage monthly goals, yearly goals, and then just to have people in your life with congruent goals. Because, you know, we say this, and I think of this all the time related to our friendship, but iron sharpens iron. And so you just need, if you're linked up with somebody that doesn't have congruent goals, then they're never going to push you forward, ever. So, And then another thing about the power of pushing start and waiting for the right time is, and we've talked about this in the past, but to know who you want to be. You know, where do you want to be in 10 years? We talked about where we want to be at the end of this year. And we do this, everything we can apply to running, right? But we visualize ourselves at the finish line. And whether that's a Saturday long run that I'm visualizing myself drinking coffee at the end, or at the end of the marathon that I'm going to do next weekend, is what's it going to feel like at the finish line? And really, that applies to life. That applies to the day, applies to the week. Everything. Like, how am I going to feel at the finish line? And it's another good thing. It's all about perspective, but it's another good thing, you know, this action that you're about to do, how is that going to make you feel at the finish line? You know. So,
I mean, and I use the word identity a lot. And who are you going to identify yourself as? And you've got to put yourself into those situations. You've got to push yourself beyond your comfort zone in order to get yourself at the starting line, to see yourself at that finish line. And just like you said, on a day thing. So, for example, not feeling 100% and, had to work yesterday. I had clients to see. I'm not sick. I'm not contagious. And I had to I literally visualized myself, okay, I can make it to 5 p.m., to get through things. And you don't want to give up on yourself so that when you get to that finish line, you have regrets.
Yeah.
And that's what gets you through those hard moments.
Yeah.
And when you are thinking about and visualizing yourself, you've got to understand that so many things that you do is one-on-one. It is a mental conversation.
Yeah.
In your life, in hard things, it is that mental conversation that you have got to tell yourself, either I'm worth it, I'm strong enough, I can do this, and then when you get to that finish line, you're like,
I did it.
Builds confidence.
That's absolutely right. And your actions, those day-to-day actions in the mundane, are your testimony. It's what makes up who you are every day. And so let us not discount the mundane, the day-to-day doing the next best thing. And, something that I often think and then think, and I try to instill this in my girls because my girls are at hard ages, teenagers. And, does the world know that you're a Christian? Does the world know that you're health conscious? Do our patients know? Yes, we try to lead from the front. We try to lead from the front by setting high goals and then living it out.
Amen. Yeah. I mean, it makes our platform believable.
Yeah. And I challenge you in whatever your profession, wherever you are, wherever your sphere of influence is, that you do the same.
Yeah. I mean, leading from the front, guys. I know I'm someone that if you're going to give me advice, I want to see something that the reason you're giving me advice that I want to emulate. I want to be like. I want to trust that you've done it.
Yeah.
Been through it, or that it's empathized and.
Yeah.
I mean.
So true. Okay, so one lie that people believe in January is that they need the perfect plan. They'll start when they feel ready. I'll begin once life calms down. We see this all the time with health, with nutrition, with fitness. You probably have seen it more than anybody else as a trainer.
It's bad.
So, yeah. But readiness is not the starting point. Action is. So you've got to put action behind it. You can be ready all day long.
Yeah.
So
well, it's almost like, we're still seeing, you're seeing patients and we're doing hormones, you're doing hormones and I'm doing weight loss. And I have seen people start before Thanksgiving and come to see me after Christmas losing weight.
Yeah, which is so
and
great.
I'm like, and they don't understand. You're doing something that is so hard and you're going against the grain.
Yeah.
And there is never a perfect time, because I am always like, if I'm talking to my campers outside and I'm always challenging them, like, hey guys, let's do a Whole30, or hey, let's give up sugar for 10 days, or let's do this and this. They're like, oh, I got a wedding, oh, I have a birthday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the excuses, you will always find an excuse not to start.
Absolutely. So don't believe the January lie. That's the challenge.
Amen.
Okay, so why do most goals fail? So most goals don't fail because of laziness. They usually fail because you overthink or you have fear of doing it the wrong way. You're waiting on motivation instead of building momentum. And, those are all reasons that they can fail. Yeah. And so don't beat yourself up and say, oh, I'm lazy, I'm not ready to run the race or whatever. Yeah. No, quit overthinking. There is nothing more powerful than doing it now.
Yeah. I mean, and also they fail because you're not being specific, like a SMART goal. You want to be specific and say, one of my clients the other day sat in front of me and they said, my goal is to be healthy. And I had to dig down into that. I was like, what is healthy to you?
Yeah.
And they told me that it is to meal prep and make better choices. That's more specific,
right,
instead of get healthy. And so many people are like, I want to lose 50 pounds. That's a big number.
Yeah, let's start small and action
It's not
behind it.
laziness. It's because their goals are they're not drilling it down to a week thing or a month thing. And
Yeah, but perfection delays progress. So you don't have to be perfect. Just move forward. And, when you push start, that changes your identity.
Yep.
So I think about this with you.
oh Lord.
So when you push start, we'll say Fresh 15 last year, that changed your identity because you started running a lot more, and then look what all you've done this last year.
I know.
Yeah. So you move from thinking to doing, and that's huge. From waiting to building, our word build, from hopeful to committed. So I think about when I said, you know what, and I think you were probably one of the first people that I verbalized that to. I want to try to qualify for Boston. Well, by verbalizing that, you talked about that in the December podcast, that you encouraged people to verbalize it. Because when you verbalize it, like that's speaking it into existence in some ways. But you go from hopeful to committed.
Yeah.
And especially if you verbalize it to somebody else, that's
Gonna
going to hold you accountable. That's right. But actions create belief.
Yeah.
And so there's no other way around that. So
it is. And it's just like, just like I said, when you decide and start small, you have to start. So if your goal is to get healthy in 2026, and I asked the person, what they ate for breakfast before they came to see me, and then I'm like, what are you going to eat tomorrow? Because we're starting tomorrow. You don't start like, I got to go shopping, I've got to go do all this. No.
Yeah. Start right now.
Just have to start.
Yes.
Make the next choice a better choice, and then prep and be ready to do goals. But again, we're not striving for perfection. You can't say that enough.
Yeah, that's so true. So imperfect action can still build confidence. So it's action that builds confidence. It doesn't have to be perfection that builds confidence. So just making the next best step. So I'm like a broken record with running, but perfect example. So your first half marathon, was it perfect?
No, not at all.
No, we did a podcast on it. It was we both had a bad race, but it did create confidence because you had done it. So, and then your next one was better, but it wasn't perfect. So confidence is a result. It's not a requirement.
Yeah.
And you don't gain confidence by not starting. Like, you have to start to gain that confidence. And then every imperfect rep still reinforces that you're somebody that's going to show up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were saying that they couldn't work out and that they felt like a failure. And I was like, that's not a failure, because failure is so permanent. In my mind, it is. And I had to explain it to her when she came in, because she didn't understand. She thought I was like, not coddling. It's the word I'm thinking of right now.
You definitely weren't coddling.
I definitely wasn't coddling, but I don't know why that word came in my head. And,
Christy does not coddle.
no, do not coddle. And I was like, it's not failure, because we're not striving for perfection. And everything that you do, if you're not able to do a workout because you're hurt, then you're learning from that. We got to learn to get stronger. Or if you made a bad choice and you feel what your body felt, then you learn from that, and you just try not to repeat things as often. But we all make mistakes. It's not failure. It is lessons. It is just learning.
You know what I think of? I need to go back and find this text, but I ran Houston last year, which we're running next weekend. And you had tracked me, and you had corresponded with my husband during Houston, and it was a hard race, and the temperature was terrible, and my body did not feel good. And I was sitting there waiting for the valet parking, and it was all backed up in the hotel. And Christy texts me. She texts me as my trainer. And I was like, yeah, I'm still not really ready to talk about it. Like, I'm still kind of in my feelings. Like, I think I was sitting there still like a little bit tearful because it was so bad. And you text me something like, well, I hope that some of the tears that you're shedding are tears because you're proud of yourself for what you did. Anyway, and I was not proud of my performance, but the point is, it was imperfect action. But I still did it. You still pushed start. So, and you can apply that to school. You can apply it to, so many different areas of life.
Oh yeah. I mean, and just like last weekend.
Yeah.
We had our well, it was supposed to be I was supposed to have a long run this weekend, but I cut it
The
to make
cedar
let
fever.
my body heal, guys. And so I ran 10 miles on last weekend, and I hit a wall. And I never hit a wall like this training, where my stomach just hurt. Well, I did at grandma's, but I stopped and I walked. And this time I did not. And I just shuffled.
Yeah, try it. You gotta try
I
it.
tried it, but I didn't stop.
Yeah.
And it didn't, I gained something from doing that,
Yeah.
knowing that no matter what this next 13 miles is going to happen next weekend.
Yeah. That you still did it. That's
if
right.
I get a cramp, I'm not walking again.
Yeah, it may be hard, but you're going to finish.
I'm going to do something. I'm going to shuffle my feet.
That's right. And, that is grit. To have grit, which is, we're grit and grace, but grit over clarity. So clarity comes after movement, after action. And you don't need a full roadmap. You just need the next right step. And whether that's a decision, whether that's a job, going back to school, exercise, getting up in the morning, and I think this is so true that God wants us to trust him with the action before he reveals like the next thing. And it's the obedience piece. It's the obedience that you have to obey before he shows you what you're going to do. And that's huge. I mean, you saw that this year in some areas where you followed the Lord's prompting and obeyed, but you didn't really know how it was going to work out in a lot of ways.
But I mean, that is true faith.
Yeah, that builds faith.
That is faith of you hear God prompt you to do something and you obey without a roadmap.
Yeah.
And that is scary.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah.
It is good because I think we talked about this on the last podcast. I don't want to walk through life without God whispering in my ear. And then I want to hear his whispers, no matter how small it is. But the thing is, you and I talk all the time, and we are throwing our ideas out to each other, what we want to do, and our goals and actions, and what we want to do 6 months down the road, a year down the road. And if we look at our conversations, and they've pivoted and they changed, but you're that sounding block, and you're in the Word, you're in conversation with God, so you are also that guiding point.
Yeah.
For things that I'm doing.
Right.
And I'm blessed to have that.
Yeah. Because that's where the iron sharpens iron.
Exactly.
Well, and then, this is building on kind of what we already said, is that make sure that you pick goals that actually are feasible and that work. Now, I have grandiose goals. It's okay to have big goals. Like, I can set some big goals for myself, and I'm happy to set some for Christy, like big. Like, they usually involve a race and a trip and, all the things. Our husbands might not know about the goals yet. Nope. But anyway, just like what you said, it's okay for these to be smaller goals that build up to that big goal. You don't have to have it all figured out. It may not be that you're going to, instead of losing 50 pounds, let's say I'm going to eat healthy for this week and I'm going to eliminate sugar for this week. And then you do the next thing. It doesn't have to all be at one time. And that proves consistency. It builds the system, like the process, not just the outcome. So don't just say, I'm gonna lose 50 pounds. Say, I'm going to eliminate sugar. I'm going to eat low carb. I'm going to exercise. And then in the end result is still hopefully that you lose 50 pounds, but that helps you to kind of become the kind of person that doesn't quit too.
Yeah, and it's almost like every time I have clients come sit with me and we talk about, what they've done for the past 30 days. And my goal is always to build habits. A great book is James Clear, Atomic Habits, and he calls it habit stacking. And so when you do something for 30 days, and so I always want to give people action items when they leave my office and when I'm talking to somebody and guiding someone, and when they do it and they've taken action and it's become habitual, then you add something else to it that is going to add. So if you've given up sugar for 10 days, then maybe you get away from gluten for 10 days. And it's not as bad. It's when you go too far in, too fast, they're like, I give up. This isn't fun.
Yes, exactly. And that is like the power of small wins. We talk about that, that small starts can create a massive change. So that can be one workout, that can be one prayer, one healthy meal, one hard conversation. In the same way, it's just, what I preach to my teenage kids, small steps in the wrong direction can change the trajectory of your life. But let's be positive. It's the power of small wins.
Yeah.
So momentum compounds, we say consistency compounds. And so momentum compounds when consistency replaces intensity. So, and that can be a little bit hard for people like me. I like high intensity, but it's the day-to-day. It's what we do day to day.
And it's almost like the post I did today with the picture of you and I at Fresh. And that is our consistent Saturday routine. We run, and then we talk about life and goals, faith, and everything. And that consistent thing has built some great things.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no questions asked.
Yeah.
And that's just something that we've done consistently. And I mean, and the thing is, good things consistently you do every day can be good, but also bad things build up and bad things happen. So you got to look at what you're doing. I mean, things you're putting in your mouth. If it's good, it's going to have good effects.
Yeah.
And if you're consistently not doing good, it's pretty bad.
Yep. And our little Saturday routine, I thought of that with that post, that you need to look for things in your life like that, because that fills me up. Like I drive away, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. Because we've spoken truth to each other, and you feel encouraged, and then you can pour out.
Yep.
So you need to look for areas in your life. Okay, how can I carve out? It's the same thing as our daily anchors, your quiet time, your exercise, those things. Like, what can I do to pour in that fuels my goal?
Yeah.
So, and this is huge because my entire life, fear has always been kind of a foothold that the enemy could take me down this road. Actually, you talked about that this morning. But it is okay, it's powerful to push start with fear.
Yeah.
Fear is normal, but fear that keeps you from doing anything can be paralyzing from all good things. But fear doesn't mean stop. Fear sometimes means growth is near, that obedience is required, that you have to trust, and that your comfort is being challenged, because it's easy to just stay stagnant. And I never want to be one of those people that I played it safe. What did I saw a social media post that I shared with my husband, and it said, either you are somebody that took a risk or you are working for somebody that did. Ooh. And I was like, wow, because, I took a big risk to open a business. And I was like, wow, that kind of stopped me in my tracks. So, but courage, true courage, is choosing to begin anyway. That I may be scared, but and I think there's a fine line between fear and a lack of peace. So if you lack peace with something, that's different. But if you're just scared because it's going to be hard, then
we do that a lot.
Yeah, then push start.
we talked about it in our turkey. We talked about it when we talked about our turkey trot. We're running a 5K and we're nervous. We're so nervous
because we had some big goals.
I mean, we are competing head to head with people at DECA, and we are nervous, but we're ready to do it again.
Yeah.
I mean, I may be at the starting line thinking, why do I do this?
What did I call it? What was it that we were doing where I was like, it was Las Vegas. We're like, I have amnesia. I have childbirth amnesia already. That's how you are after a race. I think it was after Grandma's. Seriously, after Grandma's, but I was like, yeah, I'm done. And I was like, I'm tired of running. And then an hour later, I was like, okay, I'm good.
Oh, yeah. You have that a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so the thing is, if you are being challenged, there is going to be fear, and please don't let it stop you.
Don't let it stop you
from making changes in your life, because it can be a healthy fear.
Yeah. So I truly encourage you to use January as a time to reframe. And reframing is powerful. It's the word I said before, perspective. So reframing is just looking at something from a different angle. And so January doesn't have to be about reinvention. You don't have to reinvent who you are. You know who you are, but it's about alignment. Alignment really equals goals. And then faithfulness to show up, to do the next thing. And it's okay to show up before you feel ready. And start where you are, because God honors you starting. He he honors obedience.
Yeah.
And a scripture in the Old Testament is to obey is better than sacrifice. And that's powerful. Like, that means so much, to obey and don't sacrifice goals or standards, like obey.
Yeah. I mean, and just like we talked about in our last podcast about, you have to reflect of what you did in 2025 so that you can just grow in 2026 and make sure that you are in alignment with what God is doing. Were you in alignment in 2025? Can you get in better alignment? What habits and routines and things can you put into your life in 2026 that is just going to fill you with growth and positivity and relationships and just so many sticky memories that, just because of what we said earlier, time goes by so fast.
Yeah, truly.
And you just want to be able to have those intentional times with people that you love so that you're not just, I don't know, living with regret or just living.
Or stuck.
Just, mundane.
Yeah.
We don't want that. I mean, we're building and we're growing, and we do a lot of our days look similar.
Yeah, they can. You can get stuck in the mundane, but your January assignment is to ask yourself, what am I waiting to feel ready for? And what does pushing start look like today? Like, pushing start today for us was just showing up for our long run this morning, after our quiet time, and what's one imperfect action that I can take this week? And then do it. And it may be messy, but be faithful in the small stuff.
Yeah.
Faithful in the small stuff.
Yeah. So let us know, guys. Let us know if you guys answer any of those questions. Share with us. What does pushing start look like for you? Because I mean, we love sharing how we're pushing start.
Yeah.
But continue to share with us and share this podcast with people, because we just want this message to go out to everybody.
Yeah. So as we finish, what's one or two things? We started with some goals, a lot of reflection. What are one or two things that you're super excited about for 2026?
I am so excited about this just collaboration with Grace Wellness. It is so God ordained. It is just unreal, the path that we're both taking to impact lives. And I love the fact that you have the medicine side, the knowledge side, the athlete side down. I've got the fitness side, the nutrition side, the athlete side, and that we both lead from the front. That is so important to me, and to just be next to you, walking through this with you, is a lot, because you're the same probably as me. What your identity, what you've built your reputation to be, is very meaningful. And that's the same for me.
Yeah.
And you're not going to put your name next to somebody that doesn't have that same belief. And because a reputation can be hurt quickly.
Yeah.
And I've always been, just very faithful in my dealing with people.
In your walk.
And helping people, and whichever path they go. If it's with me, if it's with something else, hey, just do something.
Yeah.
That's what I'm excited about. What about you?
That's super exciting. I'm excited about that too. And one thing that I will say about that is, like, I wanted you on the dream team years ago, but it wasn't the right time. And it is the right time now. But I think it's so beautiful that actually, like, our friendship was born before our collaboration was born. I often, because Christy and I, we talk a lot and we text a lot, and it always makes me laugh, because there's like different facets of the friendship, like the business side and the collaboration, but then we're training for this race, and then we're like, hey, do these two things match that I'm wearing today or something, So anyway, I'm super excited about that. This is like super basic, but I'm super excited about the Boston Marathon. And I'm excited because Christy's going to run a full marathon this year. She hasn't like announced that publicly, but she is, and I'm excited. We're going to run it.
Excited.
We're going to run it together.
Okay.
So that's another
Our
podcast.
definitions together and my definition are so different.
I'm excited about all things in 2026.
If you listened to our podcast where we talked about Las Vegas, that was ending the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
We talked about how we ran in Las Vegas. That's how it's going to be in Chicago.
It's not. We're going to run together. I'm going to slow down.
She's going to run 30.
In Vegas, if you didn't listen to that, in Vegas, like, I ran because our pace is like 90 seconds different. So we had to be safe, because it was Vegas. And so we would run, and we also know never to talk to each other at certain times. And so we would run, and I would be ahead of her, and then I would turn around back to her, and then I would run. Anyway, and she just looked angry.
She just stayed consistent.
She just stayed consistent. She's so good at being consistent. I love that about you. Anyway, but y'all, the take home today is just push start. And not because you're ready, but because growth requires movement. And the best version of you is built one imperfect step at a time. We may sound like, oh, these two girls, they've got such big goals, they have it all together. We don't. We do not have it all together, but we set goals and hold each other accountable and ask the Lord to help us every single day.
Yes, we do.
And so, that's my biggest take home is just push start, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And at the end of the year, when you reflect back, there's going to be things that goals you didn't meet, but you're still going to progress, and that's the beauty of it. That's growth. Don't be stagnant.
Don't be stagnant. Amen. Guys, thanks for spending time with us on the Grit and Grace podcast. If this episode spoke to you, please like, share, and follow us on all platforms. And as you head back into your life, choose to pursue it with strength, faith, and intention, a life marked by both grit and grace.